Hi there, Jeep owners. Today on your 2020 Jeep Cherokee, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install Blue Ox's base plate. There's 5 main components you'll need when flat towing your vehicle behind your motorhome. You'll need your tow bar, which is the connection between your motorhome and your vehicle. You'll need your safety cables, which is a supplemental connection in addition to your tow bar. You'll also need your base plate, which provides the connection point on your vehicle for your tow bar to attach to. You'll need your diode wiring, which will take all the lighting signals from your motorhome, transfer them to your vehicle, and illuminate the lights at the back of the vehicle so people know your intentions when going down the road. And lastly, you'll need your supplemental braking system, which will apply the brakes in our vehicle when we hit the brakes in our motorhome to help us come to a safe stop. And this is what our base plate looks like when it's installed. The attachment points will go directly where your factory tow hooks used to be, so it gives it a nice appearance and fits directly through the fascia, so it looks very natural and factory. If we come across to the center, there's also mounting brackets included for your electrical connectors as well as your breakaway switch, so you can get your entire flat tow set up nice and neat on your vehicle and integrated in very nice and smoothly. Your base plate provides the attachment point for your tow bar to connect to, so you can haul it behind your motorhome. The arms that you'll attach your tow bar to are removable. We've currently got those arms removed, so you can see what it looks like when you're just going to be driving your vehicle around regularly when you're not flat towing. When you are ready to flat tow, you can insert the arms into them. You'll just simply slide them in, give them a twist until they lock into place. We can do the same thing over on the other side, and this will give you a connection point for any Blue Ox tow bar to attach to. If you've got another manufacturer's tow bar, there are adapters available here at etrailer.com, so you can make those work as well. Next to our attachment point, we have a place to connect our safety cables, which is a supplemental connection you'll need in addition to your tow bar, and we have one of these on each side. When you're ready to use your tow bars, we can take it out of the storage position. I also recommend removing your pins here because it's a little bit easier in the storage position because it holds itself up like that. We'll then lift up. We can push the tow bar down, spread our arms apart, and then we're going to line up the 3-pronged end with our 2-pronged end here, and we're going to line up those holes and make sure we've got the sticker pointing up like it indicates on the outside here. We'll just slide that together, slide our pin in, and lock it in place on the other side. We're then just going to do the same thing with the other arm on our tow bar. You'll receive a set of safety cables as well with your tow bar, so we'll also want to make sure we hook those up. When hooking up your safety cables, you want to make sure you cross those. So I'm going to hook this side to the passenger side on my motorhome's hitch, and then I'm going to bring it over to the driver's side on our vehicle and attach it to the base plate. We'll then just do the opposite with our other chain here. And what this does is it creates a cradle underneath of our tow bar. So in the event of a catastrophic disconnect, the cross here is going to catch our tow bar and prevent it from falling down and digging into the pavement and keeping it up. Now we can just hook up the rest of our components. We've got those hooked up here, which is our wiring as well as the breakaway cable for our breakaway switch for our braking system. We can just place our vehicle into flat tow mode now, and then we're ready to hit the road. Great news for you Jeep owners out there that this is one of the easier base plates to install. A lot of other models, you have to do quite a bit of modifications, but since these just replace your factory tow hooks and your base plate is multiple pieces, you'll have one for each side, as well as a separate bracket for electrical connectors. You can easily just attach those pieces, and it integrates very nicely. We don't have a huge crossbar or anything like that. So why don't you follow along with me in the shop, and we'll get it installed together. We'll begin our installation underneath the hood by removing the fascia cover here at the top. There are several push pins we're going to need to remove, so we're going to take all of those out. We'll use a flat-bladed screwdriver, and there'll be a spot on your pin that has an opening. Stick it underneath. Just give kind of a little twist. That'll pop out the center. Then you can just pull the center out, and then you can pull the rest out. We're going to repeat that for all the remaining pins. So now with all 13 pins removed, we can work our cover off around all the little components that are sticking out, and then we can set it aside. Underneath the cover we just removed, you'll have a bolt just to the inside of your headlight where it attaches to the painted surface below the headlight. We're going to remove that with a T30 Torx socket. And there's another one on the opposite side we're going to take out as well. We're now on the driver's side fender liner here, where we'll need to remove 3 bolts. I recommend taking your steering wheel and just turning the wheel towards the inside so you can easily access these 3 bolts. We'll remove them with an 8mm socket. With the 3 bolts removed, we can start peeling our fender liner back. And this will expose a bolt right here, kind of right on the seam where these 2 pieces meet. And we're going to take that out using a 10mm socket. Once you've got the bolt removed on this side, we're going to repeat the exact same process over on the other side to remove the fender liner and take off this bolt. Along the bottom side, we're going to be removing all the bolts that are a lighter color. So not these black ones, but these ones here. There's 4 total, and we'll use a 10mm socket to take them out. There's 1 rivet located on each side that attaches our fascia here to our fender liner. We're going to need to remove this rivet, and you'll have to drill it out to remove it. We're just going to drill out the center, and then the whole rivet just will come out just like that. We used a 3/16 drill bit, and then we're going to take out the one on the other side as well. We can now start taking out our fascia. We're going to start on one side and just get this side popped out. You want to pull kind of outward as well as downward. You can see there's a piece here that needs to be released. As you're pulling outward on the fascia, you want to take a small screwdriver. You can kind of see my screwdriver tip here. There's a tab right there that you want to take your screwdriver and go underneath of and pop it up to release it. There's several more of these that run down all the way up. You may or may not need to release each one individually, or sometimes you can just give it a nice tug after releasing the first one and they'll pop out of there. We're just going to keep on working our way towards the center. Once we get the last one removed here from our headlight, underneath, we're going to reach back and we're going to disconnect the electrical connector. You want to pull out on the locking tab, then you can press in on the release button and pull the whole connector off. If we follow our wiring from our light here on the driver's side, it will go to a large connector here. We're going to remove this connector as well. There's a yellow tab on this one that's your locking tab. So we're going to pull that one out. And then this whole red piece here is going to go this direction. So we're just going to grab it and pull that up like that. And the 2 connectors will just fall right apart. We're going to work our fascia towards the center over on this side now and disconnect the light over on this side. You can then just work the rest of it off. It is just going to be stuck on some tabs, so you have to work your way around, just pulling each piece. Just always make sure you've got your hand in the center. That's why I always like to take off each side individually. Then I work my way towards the middle here, holding the center, and then I can work off the rest of the tabs. This way I've always got a hold of it so it can't fall. We'll then now set it aside where it won't get damaged. Now to make things a little bit easier to work on, we're going to take this undershield off. It's not really necessary, but it is going to just give you a lot more room to work. So there are 1, 2, 3 bolts here in the front. We're just going to loosen these 3. That's all we need to do, just loosen them. And then on the other side, we've got 4 bolts. We're going to take those completely out. With the 4 back bolts out, we can then slide the whole panel towards the rear of the vehicle and it'll slip off those front bolts. We can now remove our tow hooks. There's a bolt on each side of the tow hook. We're going to take it out with a 16mm socket. And I like to leave one of these bolts here, just thread it in a couple of turns just to hold the tow hook so it doesn't fall out. And then if we follow the shaft of our tow hook, where it goes through the frame here, there's a large nut on the end. We're going to need to remove that nut with a 30mm socket. Once you've got the nut removed, we can then take out that bolt that we were just had in there, a couple of turns, slide the whole tow hook out, and then we're going to take out the tow hook on the other side in the same way. We can now remove our frame extensions. These are just below where the tow hooks were. There's 3 bolts we're going to take out with a 15mm socket. Now there's a speed nut that's holding on our extension here, keeping it from coming off. With these, you can just pry these off of here. The easiest way I found to do it is just use a pair of side cutters, because you can get behind it pretty good, and then just pry that nut off there. In most cases, it's going to break. It's okay, this was just installed from the factory for them to make quick assembly. They just push that nut into place to hold this piece on. We won't need it though anymore, so we'll just take it off, and then we'll take off the other side in the same way. We're going to be reusing the bolts that we took out here to attach our base plate, as well as one of the bolts that we took out from the tow hook. We're going to use some red Loctite on all the bolts that attach our base plate. So we're going to put this on the 3 we took out as well as the one there. We can now take our base plate and set it into position. There is a left and a right to these base plates. You'll know you got the right one because your bolt holes are going to line up. If you have the wrong side, it'll be pretty obvious because you won't be able to install any of this hardware. Now we're just going to reinstall the bolts we took out of that bumper extension. As well as the outside bolt that we removed from our tow hook. We'll do that on the other side as well. There's now a bolt that's going to go in the back side, kind of like how our tow hook used to. We're going to slide a lock washer on the long bolt that comes in your kit, as well as the large washer. We have red Loctite on there as well, and this is going to go on the back side. It's going to slide through the opening where our tow hook used to slide through, where we took out that large nut, and this is going to thread into the back side of the base plate. And we're just looking to get it started. Now that we got it started, we're going to repeat the same process to get the other one installed on the other side. We can now go back and tighten down all our hardware. The order that we're going to tighten it is going to be the bumper bolt first, followed by the 3 bolts that hold it to the frame, and lastly we'll tighten down the back one with a 19mm socket. We'll do this on the other side as well. We can then go back and torque our hardware to the specifications found in our instructions. We can now attach our permanent safety cables. These are just a supplement. And we're going to wrap it around the frame of the vehicle and attach it to this small hole here at the bottom with the included quick links. We're going to make sure we don't pinch any hoses or wiring when doing this. So we're going to route this around the frame here. We're going to go up. And then we're just going to bring it around like that, making sure not to catch any of these wires or hoses behind our cable until we've got them both here next to this hole. We can then take the included quick link, we'll open it up, slide it through, slide our other one on, and then we can tighten it down. We're then going to do the same thing over on the other side of the vehicle. We have an electrical bracket that comes included with our base plate for mounting our breakaway switch and all of our electrical components. It's going to go in about this location here. You get to choose where you want to put it. We're just going to center ours. And it does kind of wrap around the back side, and we're going to bolt it with hardware. We do need to drill out the holes though. So an easier way to do that is we're just going to flip the bracket around this way and then use this as a template to mark our holes so we can ensure we've got the correct spacing. Just going to mark there, and we're going to mark over here. And now we'll drill both of those out using a 1/4-inch drill bit. We can now take our bracket, line it up in position, slide our bolts through, and after you push the bolt through, we're just going to put a nylon locking nut on the other side, and then we'll attach this side in the same way. We can then go back and tighten down our hardware using a 7/16 socket and wrench. Now that we've got our base plate completely installed with everything torqued down, we can reinstall our fascia in reverse order of how we removed it. However, I highly recommend at this point that you leave your fascia off and you complete the rest of your flat toe setup. If you've got a braking system, diode wiring, and any other accessories you want to add, this is the best time to do it because it's going to be the easiest time to route your wiring. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up our flat toe setup here, and then I'll meet you back with it all done and we'll get that fascia back on. There may be some trimming required, so when we hold the fascia up here, we're likely going to have to trim out for our breakaway switch here. So we'll just use our fascia kind of as a template when we hold it up and trim around that. When we're attaching your fascia, on the bottom we had to drill a rivet out, and we're going to be replacing it with a plastic rivet that comes in our kit. There'll be one for each side, and you need a plastic rivet gun to do so. We'll slide our rivet in the gun, we'll slide our gun up, and then we'll just squeeze it, and it's going to pull it. You may need to repeat that process a couple times until it snaps the end off and holds it in place. And that completes our installation of Blue Ox's base plate on our 2020 Jeep Cherokee.